Lace 'em up, let's start the show. We're digging in with Tripp. 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 We're digging in with Tripp today, yeah.
Particularly special episode alert. Boom, here it is. Coming up, Sebastian Aho. Hockey, I think more than all of the other things that it gives you to enrich your life, it's the friendships that otherwise you wouldn't make. And Sebastian Aho, what a supreme competitor. He has, in his Finnish blue blood, it's right there in his bloodstream to be as competitive of a person as I've ever seen. It's a very part of his DNA. I'm wearing my blue and white dig-in visor in honor of the Finnish colors that have shined in international competition on countless occasions. I've never met a bad Finn. I'm going to get myself over to Oulu in northern Finland at some point very soon to acclimate, to dig in with the greats that have come from there, including Sebastian, including Joni Pitkänen, Jussi Jokinen, the great Pekka Rinne. Mikael Granlund's a heck of a good guy, and I'm just scratching the surface. All sorts of greats from that town right up there in the north. We're going to be able to dig in with Carolina's young star, thanks to our longtime presenting sponsor, the New Country Auto Group. Dealerships spanning in New York, Connecticut, Maryland, Pennsylvania, right on down to Florida, where they have just cut the tape on, I think, the finest Ferrari dealership anywhere. In Naples in Western Florida. They also have a Ferrari dealership in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach to be specific. But beyond that, if you have aspirations to put your hands on the wheel of a Mercedes, Maserati, BMW, Lexus, smart car, like I said, Ferrari, newcountry.com, family owned, family run, like Sebastian Aho, detail, on and off the ice, and for them, on and off the automotive lot. Please check out our ever-expanding digintrip.com merchandise line. We are about to add a hoodie for Carpet, the team in the Finnish Elite League that Sebastian's father, Harry, manages and used to play for. We're going to add that shortly. We have all sorts of things. It's ever-expanding. digintrip.com. Please rate and review our show on all audio platforms as well as YouTube. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right knee-deep into it. Grab our shovels. Very special episode because I love this kid. On and especially off the ice. I love his energy. I love his compete. I love his perspective and genuine nature. Grab the shovels. Let's learn more about Sebastian Aho. Yeah, they tell you in life not to play favorites. And over all my years, I can't avoid it. This guy, a guy from his hometown, Jussi Jokinen, told me a couple of years before he arrived on the scene, he said, Tripp, or TT as he calls me, you're going to love this Sebastian Aho. And do I ever. So I welcome you to the show, my dear friend. And as we start every show, and God knows you know how to do it, how do you define digging in?
First of all, thanks for having me. It's an honor. And digging in. Usually, to me, when I see it, when things are maybe not going entirely your way, and you have to push hard, a little bit harder. You may be in uncomfortable situation, and then you dig in and you overcome it, whatever it is. And I guess that what means digging in to me.
Very fine definition. Way to set the tone. Before we, really get into this episode, Sebastian, there have been so many great NHLers and specifically Hurricanes from Oulu. Can you just paint a picture? I mean, whether we're talking about Joni Pitkänen, we're talking about Jussi Jokinen, Pekka Rinne, Mikael Granlund, list goes on and on. how far of a drive is it north from Helsinki? And what was it like to grow up in this beautiful place? I'm coming to your golf tournament, so please describe what Oulu is like and what makes it most special.
Yeah. So your first question, it's like an hour flight from Helsinki to up north, and yeah, it's obviously I think it's the best place since all my family and all my friends are from there. So that obviously make the place special to me. But yeah, it's a beautiful little city by the water. Uh, you guys basically have everything you need in the city. But for sure, why I love the place is obviously family and friends and people from all.
Your mom and your dad, who I've had the pleasure to meet both Hari and Lena, are they both from Oulu their entire lives?
Uh, they're born a little bit even more up north, like an hour drive. But yeah, you can tell that you can say they're from all. I mean, majority of their life they've been living there, and we as a family we all call all as our home. So yeah.
At some point, you're going to have to come visit me, and we'll hit the links and play golf in Michigan. I mean, you loved it when I beat Peter Mrazek at my home course in Michigan.
Yeah.
I got right in touch with you. People from the Midwest in the United States, Sebastian, are different in some ways and unique to people from the East and the West Coast. Are people in Finland from the North and the South and the East and the West, do they have their unique parts as well?
Yeah, actually, it starts from the way we speak Finnish language. It's there's little differences how people from South and people from North speech. We use maybe few different words and stuff like that. So and obviously the people, most Finns are somewhat similar, but there's slight differences obviously to place.
Did you play what sports did you play growing up? You said it was on the water. I mean, tell me about your life as a kid in Oulu.
Oh, I had a great childhood. Obviously, hockey was always the number one thing for me. We played hours and hours on our driveway and outdoor rinks and stuff like that with my brother, friends, and obviously dad. So hockey was number one, but we played a bunch of different sports. We played soccer, Finnish baseball. We played floorball. Basically anything you can think. We just I felt like we always were on the move and we just enjoyed play different sports and yeah, those are the best memories from the childhood for sure.
What's Finnish baseball?
You gotta Google it.
Oh yeah, I didn't know it was going to come up. I prepared for you, but I didn't
Yeah,
know
I
Finnish
mean,
baseball was
so
coming
in
up.
a nutshell, so the pitcher instead of throwing the ball at you, he throws it up and it has to land in the circle. So basically, they can hit the ball every time, right? Because it's way easier. So it's more, I would say, more action for sure, but it's not a very big sport. Obviously, in Finland, it's somewhat big, but I don't think they even play that anywhere else. So yeah, it's kind of funny.
That's pretty cool. Were your dad, who once upon a time was a partner on the blue line to former Hurricane Joni Pitkanen, were you
Yeah.
always a forward right from the beginning?
Yeah, I always, yeah, that was my thing. I mean, obviously, as a kid, you tried as a D-man, as a goalie, as a forward, everything. But I felt like as a forward, I felt like that was my thing, and loved to score goals, and try to you know play a lot of offense. I would say so. Yeah, that was always uh, kind of easy decision to me to play forward.
One of my favorite moments in all of my years commentating games for the Hurricanes was a goal you scored with your mom in the building against the Edmonton Oilers. It was just a a battle between you and Leon Draisaitl. And as soon as you scored, it went right to your mom, and she had the greatest smile ever, Lena. What brought the biggest smile to your face of what she could cook when you were a kid?
Oh, these are very Finnish dishes, but it's salmon soup. It's kind of, it might sound a little weird to you, but the way actually her mom, my grandmother used to cook for us all the time, and she brought it to my mom brought it to us, and it's probably my favorite dish to eat, and it's always so good.
Well, you've been helping me with getting my 6-pack back, so it sounds like a healthy dish too. When I come over to the golf tournament, I'm gonna have it.
Absolutely.
We've one of our former guests, Timmy Thomas, who played in carpet for a bit of time and has memories of a young Sebastian Aho when he was there. Whether it be a player that was older from you that went on to play in the NHL, and some still are, or a Timmy Thomas, was there any particular memories when you were a young hockey player? Your dad had played for the carpet team and now has long been the manager, of any impressions you made from National Hockey League players who were playing over there?
Yeah, I mean, there was actually a bunch of guys who I looked up to. Obviously, the first memories I only cheered for my dad when I was just a little kid, but after he retired, there was actually a bunch of guys, good guys to look up. Obviously, Jussi Jokinen was one of them. He was the star player back then in my team, and a bunch of other guys who played some games in the NHL and then came back, and I get the chance to play with them. And when I first got to the Finnish league team, and it's pretty cool. It's your hometown team, and you just, as a kid, I only dreamed to play in that team. That was my only ultimate goal at the time. And obviously, when things got a little more serious, then the NHL obviously came in the picture more and more. But get the chance to play with those guys who played with my dad when they were just the young kids, and then I was the young kid, and they're the old guys. So that was really cool to me, see them in the locker room, and I was in the good hands. I feel like they helped me a lot to learn what it takes to be a pro and good teammate, and that was good for me.
Your dad, Hari, number one in our hearts, but you were number 20. What number did he wear on the blue line?
5.
5?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right.
Actually,
good defensive number.
Yeah, still it's kind of my lucky number. So it was my favorite number till I figured out it's not a very good number for a forward. So I had to figure out something else for myself, but still like that number a lot, and kind of my lucky number.
It's things I learn about my dear friend Sebastian when we dig in. Your brother, Samuel, tell me about your brother and your sister. Where do you fall in line age-wise? And tell me more about both of them.
Yeah, so my older brother was born in 94, so he's a few years older than me. And we as a kids we both loved hockey, and we still do. We enjoy hockey, and we just always were competing. I was actually not long ago, like a week ago, my mom sent me a video when I was like maybe 3 and he was 6, and we were playing hockey outside, and I was like this close to score a goal, and he tripped me, and I dug in and still scored the goal. I just turned and two-handed him in like somewhere in the upper body, and kind of like knew, okay, it's coming to me now, and kind of like try to shield myself up, and he two-handed me in the head, and it was like a good fight. And not 5 minutes later, we had a cocoa break. We were both happy. You know, it's just like we were competing hard, but then there was the brother-in-law, and those were really great memories, and I think that pushed me as a kid. The compete level. I had to, obviously he was way bigger than me and stronger or anything, so I kind of had to learn the ways to beat him, and that was actually really good for me to have him there, to compete with.
Outstanding. Before we get to your sister,
Yep.
so what's Emily? I had heard rumors that he had gotten involved as an agent, or he's doing some things. What's he doing right now over in Finland?
Yeah, actually, he's working for Warrior Hockey. So
Okay.
he's doing, the brand Warrior Hockey. So he probably sells sticks and whatever the equipment for the in closer in my area where I'm from. So that's hockey related, and also does little job for hockey agency, and so well involved in hockey as well.
Good. He made a wise choice after he dealt with that two-hander from you in the driveway pre-Coco, because he's an expert in dealing with lumber. What about your sister? She's younger?
Yeah, she's born 2001, and so obviously a few years younger than me. And yeah, we were always being close family. We spent a lot of time with our family, and we always had a great relationship with all my family members, and I appreciate what they've done to obviously to help me get here, and we're still really close, and I'll always nice to see them after the season work.
Salt of the earth people, the Ahos, and people from Oulu. At what point do you remember a specific point that you said, hey, listen, my dream is going to play in the NHL. I'm going to play in the NHL. Is there any stretch as a young hockey player that occurred to you and was your motivation?
Yeah, I would say I was probably 15, 16 when the national team we start playing for the national team, and you kind of see that you're one of the better players in the national team, and obviously gives you a lot of confidence, and then you play against other countries and see them, their top prospects, and see you can play well, and kind of, in my mind, kind of knew that, okay, I might have a chance here, and, start putting even more work and take it more seriously, obviously, get great coaches around me the whole way, who helped me a lot to understand what it takes to get there. And obviously still you have to do your own thing, and you still have to put your own work when everyone else is kind of doing their something else. You have to put a lot of things as a kid aside and try to focus on the goal. But I would say I was like 15, 16 when I started realizing that I have a shot, and obviously the confidence just kept rolling up. And by the time I was 17, 18, I knew it actually might happen pretty soon. And in my case, it was a great thing that I made it.
And you have a very proud history with Team Finland, but I'm going to go in sequence here. All right. So it's your draft year. It's in South Florida, a spot you and I have promised to go fishing at some point for that elusive swordfish. That topic is for another day. You went in the second round. Did you know that the Hurricanes were going to take you? Were your mom and your dad, and both your brother and sister in Florida? Tell me about your draft experience.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you go to combine, and actually during the year, some teams contact you, and you kind of, you actually don't know at all, like who's gonna pick you. I mean, I might have like 20 teams who can pick you, maybe. Like there was only a few teams who didn't. I didn't remember to talk to, but yeah, I mean, it's a weird feeling, because kind of you don't know what to expect. It's very unique. You just hope you go as soon as possible. I would say, but I didn't really put a lot of pressure on me. I was just seeing like I didn't care that much at that point that who's gonna pick me or what number I would go. I was just hoping that some team would pick me, and I know it's a cliche, but that's actually where the work starts out, right? So, yeah, I didn't, put too much pressure on the draft. I just, tried to put more pressure after the draft. I wanna, prove that they made the right decision, and take my spot on the team.
I think that I'd have to look at exactly. Chicago picked somewhere around Carolina in the second round. And a former Dig In guest by the name of Scotty Bowman, okay, he called me and he said, whoa, Tripp, wait till you get a load of this guy the Hurricanes took in the second round. All right, that's Scotty Bowman's genius. You're so humble. I've watched you, and I'm on record now, okay, saying that if you do a redraft, I have you in the top 3 of the entire draft, one of the greatest drafts in NHL history. I'm not going to ask you to comment on that, because I know you well. But I have watched you when you play against McDavid, when you play against Eichel, when you play against other players in that 2015 first round, one of the greatest, the whole draft in NHL history. Does that get your juices flowing? Or is it Tripp up in the booth making something out of nothing? Because I've watched you outperform those guys with regularity.
Yeah, I would say it's more because they're one of the best players in the league. That's what, you want to beat them. Obviously, everyone wants to be best, and everyone, wants to win. And you play against McDavid, he's up there, one of the best players in the league, if not best, and or Eichel, or actually any those players who's up there, and they're in the talks that they might be one of the best players in the league. So obviously that gets me maybe a little extra push, and then you really want to beat them, and show everyone, improve yourself, that you can beat them and win it. And that's, I guess, well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's because of the draft. It's more because it's they're one of the better players in the league.
Good answer. And do you think, because don't you dare let this go to your head, but you've got fire, and you talked, what a great story about playing street hockey before the Coca with Sam Louis in the driveway. I've again had the pleasure to meet your mom and dad, hockey family. Do you think that competitive nature and fire is God-given? Do you think it's something you develop? Do you think it's a combination of both? How do you get it?
I would say it's a combination of both. I think as a kid, I was always, like to compete, like to win, always hated to lose. But still, like, I think those experiences as an early age, and, then playing in next level, always, try to prove yourself, and, competing even harder. I think you can get better at that too. So I would say it's a combination of both.
Let's go back across the Atlantic Ocean, and I remember because now Jussi Jokinen keeps talking about you. And now I'm watching the World Juniors. Did you ever deliver the goods? Jesse Puljarvi and Patrick Laine, what a line. I remember when I got called up to the NHL, Sammy Kapanen was on the team. His son, Kasperi, was on your team as well. You won gold. If you can think of one particular moment during that World Junior tournament where it wasn't going well or there was adversity and you had to dig in, what would it be?
I think it was before the tournament. It was we had a bunch of talent. I think it's like there was what's the names who actually so many guys playing in the NHL right now in a good role. So you can tell like there was a lot of talent. But that was we had, let's say, like our power play. We had Laine and Puljärvi, who both wanted to be, the shooters and the man in the team, and trying to figure out how. Like, obviously, I was the center for them, and trying to keep it under control. I would say, because we're the young kids there, and everyone wants to show that I'm the best. And even though we had a good team spirit, you still kind of like, it's a big tournament if you think about draft and your future. So everyone wants to show their best. And I think there was more of a, mental thing, trying to keep our line together. And that was I felt like that was kind of my role. Obviously, I played pretty good hockey in that tournament too. But before that, trying to talk to both of the guys, and that we can do this together, and and we did. It was actually how it ended up. It was great. We all played such a great team game, and team effort was always there, and that was the main reason we won.
Interesting. So now I know exactly I don't know you, but I know exactly who Sebastian Aho is. And then I'm looking forward to seeing you at training camp in the preseason, but you're playing in the 2016 World Cup for Team Finland. And you're playing with a bunch of NHLers. You said Jussi Jokinen was one of the guys he was on that team.
Yep.
What were and I thought you played very well. What were your biggest memories, experiences, lessons from playing against all the top players in the National Hockey League?
I just remember that I think it was my first game against the North American team, and they were so fast. Like I was like, holy, what's going on? They were bossing there. Obviously, there were other good teams in that tournament too, but they were just so fast, and I thought like, wow, if that's NHL, it's gonna be tough, and it was actually kind of a wake up moment for me too. I was actually good to get that experience before I got in the first camp went to Carolina. But it was crazy. The first couple of shifts, I don't know if I touched the puck. I was just like, the guys were flying out there, and they were good. They were really good at team in the tournament, and it was good learning experience. And I think I actually figured out pretty quickly that how you need to play in a big smaller rink, and the game's a little different back in Europe. But great learning experiences early in my career.
I thought you handled it very well. You mentioned that was your first game North America in the speed. Was there one team you played against during that tournament that you were on the ice, whoever you were playing against, that you looked over and you said, oh, this is so-and-so. This is pretty surreal.
Well, all the best players in that tournament, right? So basically, you look up, you look one of the best players in the game. So it was really cool to me to be part of that tournament, and it was great experience. Obviously, hope we could do a little better job as a team, and win some games. We didn't win any, so bummer there. But yeah, it was for me. It was a great experience.
So you show up, and I remember I think we had a Western Canadian road trip, and I'm just getting to know you. And one of the things I've always loved about you is in the best way. You feel people out. You're such a professional. You are a person of detail and professionalism. And I think you have to earn the trust and respect of Sebastian Aho by the same approach in whatever facet you're involved in the game. And I mean that as a true compliment. But I remember seeing you outside the bus in Calgary. It was a long road trip. And you had a little suitcase that I swear was like the size, mini-me in the Austin Powers movies. I mean, how on earth did you, I know you guys all wear suits. They're like spandex these days, but how did you fit all your clothes into that little mini suitcase?
I don't know. I have no idea. I pack way more these days. I do remember it was in Winnipeg. I do remember we were just about to hop on. I was the last guy who goes to the elevator, and you say something to me like, how do you fit all your stuff in there? And I think I said like I just pack smart, that or something like that. That was actually I do remember that. And well, I don't know. I don't know if I think I only had one suit, so that helps obviously, right? So. Yeah, I can't even remember what I had there, but no, it was enough.
Efficiency.
Yeah.
I remember your first goal, and I think you got a couple. I want to say it was when, and correct me if I'm wrong, early November, you and Tavo and Jordan Stahl put together, and you guys delivered the goods against the Washington Capitals. What do you remember about that night and seeing the puck go in the back of the net for the first time in the National Hockey League?
It was great. I mean, I think it was like game 14. Had a bunch of chances before that, and obviously you haven't scored in the NHL yet, and you never know if you're gonna score till you score, right? So, kind of like I felt like a lot of pressure. I put a lot of pressure on myself that I'm gonna score, and I think that's why I missed earlier few chances because overthinking it. But after I saw that first one go in, it was really special, and obviously great players in that line. Tripp and Jordan was kind of dream for me, playing in the first line and with such a great players, and you have to produce some points if you play in the first line. That's just a fact. And yeah, my parents were in the building that night, so it was really special.
Where is that puck now? Is it at home in Oulu?
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's back home.
I'll see it at the golf tournament when I have the special soup from your mom.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've got to thank you very quickly because then we move forward a couple of months, and your first hat trick, I made a brilliant, or the opposite of brilliant, decision during the All-Star break to go all the way to Vietnam to visit a girl. Not wise, okay? And I flew directly back from Vietnam, not a hop, skip, and a jump. And you're playing Philadelphia. I literally came all the way back from there. Ho Chi Minh City, Tokyo to Houston to Raleigh, right to the game. And I'm exhausted. And I needed an easy broadcast. That's when you played Philly and you had a hat trick. And I think you had a hat trick before the game was either halfway or 2 periods over. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that was you're welcome. That was a great game. That's so funny. Coming straight from Vietnam to broadcast hockey.
Absolutely moronic decision. And okay, so now getting back serious. So there's some change. Then at the end of that year, and then Rod becomes your coach. Justin becomes your captain. When did you sense that things were really changing for the better and that you guys were on your way?
Yeah, I mean, I knew we had like basically right from the jump. Like when I got here, I can tell like we have a lot of talent in young players, but obviously um, we didn't have good enough team to succeed. I feel like, and we were only okay, which is not good, but you can still see the talent in the locker room, and you can see young players who wants to get better, which is always good. But the third year when Roddy came up for our head coach, and obviously Willie was the captain and stuff like that. Those were huge, and you can tell that right from the first meeting that we're here to win. We're not here to, we didn't want to be the team who just makes the playoffs, or um, average team. We wanted to be the best team right away, and that was great team to see to happen, in our team, and myself too. You always want to be in the team who can, who can win games and who can put themselves in a position to succeed. And the third year was for sure a big year for us. My third year in the league.
And in that year, you make the All-Star game, okay? And the guy over, for those watching on YouTube, over my left shoulder, the February Dig-In Player of the Month, Sidney Crosby, made a point of contact to me. That All-Star game was in San Jose. And I think you were in the Metropolitan Division team. And I think you sat next to Sid in the locker room.
Correct.
And he got in touch with me and he said, Tripp, I've watched him on the ice. I've watched his habits. I've watched his demeanor. I've watched his personality. Wow, do the Hurricanes ever have a special, special player in Sebastian? What was that was his impressions of you at the All-Star game. What were your impressions of him and the overall All-Star experience?
Him, like from him, you can tell he's a leader. I mean, even though it's the All-Star game, kind of like guys that are not probably going, as, fast as they could, or, it's kind of like you play like not 100%. So, but even in those games, I can feel like he wants to win a lot, and he might have been the reason why we won that the whole All-Star weekend. So just a great leader, kind person. Takes care of everything. You can tell he's a winner. Like from the first when I met him. So. Great guy, but everyone I feel like who was there were super nice to me. We had a bunch of good times as a team, and you meet the new players, and it was a cool weekend, and pretty proud that I was part of that.
So many things I could ask about, but I thought that now you're back in the playoffs. Thank you. This was 10 years without it. And I went through all those dog days as a commentator. And the Washington Capitals series, the Caps, the Stanley Cup champions at the time, was as good of a series, as inspiring of a series as I've ever been a part of, even in comparison to the year the Hurricanes won the Cup in 2006. Where did you think, I asked you about Team Finland, the World Juniors. What is the moment before, during, whenever that you required digging in when things got tough and you were at the fork in the road against Washington?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the whole series. I would say it's a great team. They were defending champs. That was the first time in the playoffs in the NHL for many of us, and it was a grind. Two great teams playing hard each other's, and we were down 2-0. We came back 2-2. down 3-2. We came back from that too. So, and we were actually, I think we were down 2 goals in the game 7 on the road. So, those moments, they, you need to have those experiences. Like you kind of remember, get those feelings like, how do we didn't, obviously the easy thing would go, you're 2-0 down and on the road in game 7, it's the easy thing, just let that game go and kind of, that sometimes happens, but we didn't do that. We pushed back and end up winning that game. And obviously it was OT. It couldn't go either way, 2 great teams, but still, like, the way we played as a team and how we came back from so many tough spots was really great to see from our team. And I'm pretty proud with how we played in that series.
I thanked you for the hat trick after I came back from Vietnam. I got to thank you for this too, and ask you one more question about Game 7. My partner at the time, Johnny Forsland, says to me in the open of the broadcast, he goes, "What do you think, Tripp?" Beginning of the game, 7. I said, "This was true." I said, John, I took a nap today. I dreamt the Hurricanes got down in the game. Sebastian Aho scored a shorthanded goal, and they came back and won. So, as luck would have it, you scored a shorthanded goal, down 2-0.
Yeah.
In that stretch in the game, let's talk specifically in the second period. Is there anything that jumps out at you about the flavor on the bench, the atmosphere on the ice? Because you could have gone quietly into the night. You had, given Washington a heck of a challenge.
Yeah.
Is there anything you remember about that second period before you scored the goal to spark the comeback?
I think it was more like kind of like the whole game. We kind of had mentality that we go out there and play for the win. We kind of like mentally, like, we have nothing to lose. Try to keep things loose. Try to just do our best effort. And even though we were down 2-0, it still was there. The same feeling that we go out there. We have fun. We compete. We try to do our best, and try to have that mentality that we have nothing to lose, and kind of paid off in the end. And even remember between the periods in an OT, the locker room, it was very relaxed, very loose. Guys were talking and making jokes out there, and obviously I felt that was our thing that year, and that helped us to win that game and that series.
Do you remember any particular good jokes between overtimes?
I can't remember who said it, but there's some Canadian. I can't remember who it was, but he was saying that back home is still cold. I don't want to go home right now. Like, I want to keep playing and stuff like that. So guys, laugh and get relaxed and stuff like that. So maybe it was maybe Martin. I don't know who it was, but some Canadian guy said that. So I remember that.
It's definitely still cold in Edmonton at that point, so it may well have been him. And now one more question about that playoff run. I thought this might have been the biggest goal, or certainly as big as any goal against the New York Islanders. It was Game 3 in the third period in your own building, tie game, and you win a battle below the goal line, and you set up your friend, your captain, and Justin Williams, high cheese, scores the game winner. What do you remember about that play? But in all the buildings you played in, Sebastian, where did that moment rank in the volume? How loud it was after that unbelievable moment?
Yeah, it was, the PNC Arena rocking. It was so loud. Everyone was behind us. You can feel the support. We were playing good. And obviously the goal, that was a huge goal at the time. And who else than Justin Williams scores that? just the great memories. The whole first time, I feel like the whole year, like kind of year I was building and building, we were doing good, and a lot of fans in the building, and they got loud, and you can feel the support behind us. It shows on the ice too. Like we were confident team, and who had a lot of support from I feel like whole like North Carolina was behind us, and great memories, and for that goal, that was another clutch moment for Willie.
Speaking of Justin, two-time dig-in guest, I love the way, I'm just new to social media, just about a year in, and I love the way you manage your social media. It's very consistent with your professional personality. It's not stuff doesn't go up there very often. So I remember it was either a post on your Instagram or it was part of your story when Justin Williams retired. It's so flat out cool, Aho, in my opinion. What will you take with you moving forward, your time playing with Justin Williams?
You know what? I try when I sat next to him. I played in the same line with him, so I was very fortunate. That was really good for me, and just like trying to every day, like watching him. He's a great guy to look up to. The way he prepares himself, way he plays, practices. How he's always kind to other people. He takes care of everybody around him. Just like those, little things that comes in the bigger part, and his mental, his mental side too. Like he was usually the bigger moment. He was like even more relaxed, and tried he was comfortable with that, and even sometimes when team wasn't doing very well, and maybe everyone's pissed, coach is pissed, like everyone's pissed. He might be the guy who's just saying like, guys, relax, like just make a play, like you're a good player and stuff like that. So stuff like that, you really I tried and learn everything from him, not just as a hockey player, as a leader, as a human being. I tried to learn everything from him, and he was great guy to look up to, and very fortunate to have him in my team.
Excellent stuff. In the bubble, I think about it. I'll always remember it. The way that you flourished, the way that you dominated. The goal in the last period against the New York Rangers was a thing of beauty to the nth degree. And then it rotates, because I know you. This is the fuel for your fire now. You lose the Boston Bruins. How do you carry the last two series against the Boston Bruins with you today?
Yeah. The first year we played them, I feel like, they were a little better than us. Their special teams, they were better, and their best players were better than us. So obviously you're really pissed, but then you try to learn and from those moments. But obviously you get the second chance to play the same team in the playoffs, and you want to pay back what happened last year, and it hurt. Obviously, you got 2 years in a row you lose the same team, same players, pretty much, and it really sticks with in you, and you obviously want to win, and sometimes it doesn't go your way, but if you don't learn from those, you can't get better. So that's the way I see it. Obviously, maybe you're gonna have some of those experiences too, that you hate that losing so much that you can win.
You've your team this year You're enjoying an outstanding month of March. You've only been healthy once, and that was opening night. Sebastian, you mentioned against Washington, even loose in overtime in the locker room. Now this team, it's a different level of expectation. You've been a championship player in the international level growing up. How do you best as a group deal with a different atmosphere? Or do you create the same atmosphere? How is it different? How should it be different? Or is it really the same? Because now your expectations are to win the whole damn thing.
Well, the truth is that's in our locker room, that's been our expectations for 3 years. So it's more your job now. you like media and people from outside, they put those expectations for us now, but it's the same thing. Like we've been, our expectation has been the same 3 years, and however we play this game, it has to be the same expectation, to be the best team, the last team standing, right? I haven't changed that much, but obviously what I like our team this year, we've been able to, just look forward. We've been having guys out, a lot of from the lineups, and we've been down a goal, down 2 goals, not playing great, but then still kind of put that aside and try to look forward. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job on that.
No question. We spoke of Justin Williams. I see you as a leader, plain and simple. You know why? Because your game is utterly complete. You're an everydayer. You're a professional each and every day. When you look at Jordan Staal, never gets enough credit. He does from your teammates. And I gave you that Finnish baseball layup, the last question, the pitch. Okay. But when you look at Jordan Staal and you look at the leadership in the locker room, because you're a leader now for young guys like Marty Necas, how do you define leadership? Because it's a staple of digging in.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I gotta say Jordan is great leader, and all of us can look up to him and see. I can see a lot of the same things that Willie does, or Willie did, but obviously they're 2 different persons. So, but I really like the way he leads as well. But leadership is, to me, I feel like it's more the things you do every day. I don't think it's leadership can happen overnight, or you do one thing that makes you a leader. I don't believe in that. I feel like leadership is more everyday things you do, where you be a pro, be a nice guy to your teammates, push the pace, and just that all those little details. That's what I think it's the leadership.
I rolled into a Dallas exercise room a couple of years ago, and I see number 5 working out, Harry Aho, your dad. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let him. He might have been on the treadmill, or I don't know what he was doing. And I said, you know what? I love this guy's son. I've heard all about Harry. We have a lot of mutual friends. So he and I ended up forgetting about the workout. We just talked. He's a true hockey man. As a general manager, over, one of the great teams in the Finnish Elite League, do you talk to him a lot about your games? Does he watch closely? What's his role? Because, he isn't just your dad. He's a true hockey man. How does he help you be at your best, or does he just leave you alone?
You know what? I think he watches every game. So I don't think he's missed more than 5 games in my career in NHL, which is crazy because they usually come up at 2 a.m. at home. So that tells you that he really loves the game, loves hockey, loves watching it. And as a kid, he was more, try to, teach me, how to be a pro more than hockey player. I think like try to, just like eat right, sleep well, stuff like that, more that things, right? So like it's just like uh how he can't teach me how to score a goal, right? He was a D-man, stay at home D-man. So I don't take those lessons from him, obviously, but it's more the effort stuff. Like growing up, he didn't care like if I make a nice move, but more the how was my effort and stuff like that. So and actually even these days he usually shoots me a text after the game and like saying maybe like a thing or two what he thinks. It's not coaching or anything like that. It's just he watches those games. He shoots me a text and says like maybe you could skate more today, or if I do good, then he's obviously saying like nice goal or something. But yeah, he's true hockey, and like you said, he loves the game and actually knows a lot about the game too.
I can't wait to get over there to spend time with your mom and dad at the famous golf tournament. We're going to get to that golf tournament in a second. But want to ask, speaking of leaders, Rod Brindamore is a coach. How does he maintain that balance, Sebastian, of challenging you to get better, but showing belief in you that you can feel as a player at those two things at the same time?
Well, obviously there's no better way to show that you believe in you than put you on the ice, right? So that's the number one thing I would say. But yeah, I like how he's he's pushed me. And actually first when I got in the center, I'm starting at center in NHL. So I think like first time he talked to me and he's like, yeah, I don't know, like how are you in the circle? And I'm like, I think I'm like I can do it. I feel pretty confident. And he's like, yeah, I mean, you're gonna play the best players or best centers, and he wasn't sure about that, and I always remember that, and kind of like wanted to show him kind of that like I can do that and be, the guy who he can put out there in each situation, and he's been a great coach for our team. He's been the way he leads, way he talks, pre-game speeches, everything, all of that, and the how he raised the bar, the expectations way higher than they were before him. So it was really great thing to to get him as our coach, and still is I respect him a lot, and I feel like all the guys respect him a lot, and really listens when he says something.
Stick with me on this, but I remember when I was like 13 and I went to Hawaii with my family. My mom had just beaten breast cancer, so we were celebrating. And I think it was the only time in my life, or one of the only times, I saw an eel in the ocean. They're slippery, okay? And so there have been times that I talk about you being slippery like an eel. You're much, much better looking. But is that something you think, because you mentioned, your brother was older than you, maybe you were a little smaller before your growth spurt happened. Why do you think you are so slippery, so elusive on the ice, and how do you use that to your advantage? You eel you. This is a serious question.
Yeah. That's for sure one of the, like, I wasn't the biggest kid when I grew up, and obviously started from very early age playing against my brother. You gotta find a way to beat the other guy, and and then you play. I was when I was 16 when I started playing in the Finnish league, so I was obviously the smallest guy there too, and still not the biggest guy on the ice. So that's kind of, my way to try to beat the, maybe big and heavy D-man, right? So try to always be, trying to figure out the ways, and that's been good for me.
I've always wanted to ask you that question. I mean, I've always said to our producers, and, I have tremendous producers on TV, but I'm like, guys, don't interview Sebastian during the game. He's so darn focused, but you get him after the game. He win or lose, ideally win, but you are outstanding and you are very eloquent. I remember years ago when I used to sit on the plane, have dinners with Joni Pitkanen and Jussi Jokinen. I mean, the Finnish language is like talking on the moon. I mean, how did you, what were the steps to learn the English language where you now, in my opinion, and I mean this, have tremendous command over what you say?
Yeah. So obviously we started learning English in school when I think in the third grade, but you can learn at some point in school, and I don't think I was very that good in English in school, but I just when I got here, I kind of knew the hockey words and how I kind of understood what coach said on the board and stuff like that. But it's more like the small talk, and it's just a conversation in a team. It's kind of tough the first year because you might know what to say, but you're thinking about it, and then you're too late, right? They tell you next topic, and that was the hardest part. Actually, you have to think about it so much, and it's like every day you come to the rink, and there's Turbo who can, but Turbo's not around all the time, right? So you just have to trying to figure it out and learn. And obviously, I was fortunate to have nice guys in the locker room who wasn't bullying me or anything. They were helpful and tried to listen. But first couple of years were definitely mentally hard because you have to think so much. What do you say? What do you hear? Do you understand? And stuff like that. So it's now it's you don't even think about it anymore when you say it basically comes naturally. But thinking back though, those years they're kind of tough, and to be able to make friends in a team, and you try exactly what to say in Finnish, but you can't say the thing in English. So you don't get guys don't get to know exactly who you are and stuff like that. But definitely helped that we had good guys in the team who were helpful for me.
I think that it's gotten to a point where I know you well enough to know when the competitive juices aren't going, you're hilarious. But I listened to you. I mean, when you and I did the interview, the first game back or second game back with the fans in the building, and you talking about your appreciation for the fans being back and what fans mean to you. Sebastian, it was the definition of charismatic and eloquent. I loved it. You're welcome. Okay, I have one lighthearted question and then one serious question. I'm going to send you on your way.
All right.
The lighthearted one is, I just said, hilarity. You and Tavo, I mean, underrated sense of humors at the right time. So I'm just going to ask, because a bunch of Hurricanes fans, they saw it. Whatever. How did the whole thing with you being an elf in the office come to be? I mean, that was something.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't know what do I say yes to. I can't remember. I can't remember who it was. Maybe Mike sometime, or I can't remember who came up to me and they asked me like, "Are you okay to do this Cage TV thing, Elf in the South?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what is it?" And they're like, "Oh, it's just like the Christmas theme, like for the kids and like very common in the US and stuff like that, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it, whatever." And when I got there, I see the costume and stuff. I'm like, "Where did I say yes to? Like, what is this?" But actually, it turned out funny,
Yep.
and I know that a lot of fans loved it, so that's what it's all about. I mean, it was a good thing to do, but I was actually uh, I wasn't quite sure that where did I say yes to. But
It was for the kids. It showed your comfort in
yeah,
your own skin and not to take yourself too seriously. So that played the kids part of it plays into my final question. Because this is
yeah,
why I'm coming for the good times. Don't worry about that. But I'm coming for the kids in Oulu at the golf tournament. You and UC Jokinen, among others, have made a profound difference. And I want you to tell not just me, I want you to tell all Hurricanes fans, National Hockey League fans about what you're doing for the kids with your big golf tournament in Oulu every year. And maybe if you could tell people how they can get involved and help to support from afar.
yeah. So actually, first of all, UC Jokinen and Pecorino, they started it years ago, and then we had more. Me as myself included me, Nuriwara, and Jonas Donskoy, who were young guys who played in NHL, and we were thinking one day like it would be nice to do some charity together and do the good stuff and then I think I talked to Jussi Jokinen and Pekkarina, and they asked me like, what if we would do one big event and try to put our all of us to make just one great event and for the good cause, and that's how I got into it, and it's been getting bigger and bigger. It's a fun event, obviously. Round of golf. There's what's that? What is it called when you have like an item you can bet
Auction?
on? Yes, exactly. So that's how we try to raise money, and actually we're gonna do that online in the future. So basically, people who are not in the event can bid on those items. There's cool, there's we usually get a lot of cool stuff to for people that they can bid on, and the money goes 100% for local kids, and it's called Hope, and they're helping for the kids, for sports, equipment, or monthly payments or stuff like that, or I think it's art, and like it's local kids for them, and I think it's cool to be part of that event and obviously give back for the city that I grew up into, and yeah, it's been fun.
Fabulous. And I think I'll just close by saying you and I always wanted to wait and do a Digging In episode in person, because it's truthfully, Sebastian, it's a special one to me. You're one of my true favorites through the years. Yeah, I enjoy watching you play. You're a star, but where you truly are a star is the person you are each and every day, behind the scenes, as a friend. So we've set the tone digging in via Zoom, but I'll get over to Northern Finland to the tournament. And then if it's beyond, hopefully the world's back to, being vaccinated, we move forward and we'll do one from the 19th hole or the 18th hole. We'll do it in person. How's that sound?
All right. That's a deal.
That is a deal. And when we release the episode, I'll get all the details from you, how people can get involved with the online auction, et cetera, for such a fabulous cause. I don't use this phrase loosely. It's my mom would say, when I get sentimental, I get very Irish, because I am Irish. I love you. Thanks for doing this, and keep her going.
Thanks, Tripper. Thanks for having me.
Let's all get involved with that Hope charity. I'm going to get myself right on over there. I've been looking forward. Joni Pitkin and Jussi Jokinen, they were bugging me for years. I got to get over there. Dig-in session for a great cause for the kids. Sebastian, I had lofty expectations. Always wanted to do it in person because it is, as I said at the top of the show, very special to me because it's a true privilege and pleasure being this kid's analyst. And I think that we achieved the goal of learning a lot more about this spectacularly special and humble hockey player that's already a star, and we all know the best is yet to come. But I'm not sure if realness is in the dictionary, but I think we all get it, that he exudes realness. So thank you to Sebastian. Thank you to the New Country Auto Group, newcountry.com, dealerships. Let's start down the south with 2 Ferrari dealerships in Florida. Anything spanning, whether it be in Florida, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Maryland, from Ferrari to Mercedes, Maserati, BMW, Lexus, Smart Car. As I said again at the top, they are detail with their mission statement and execution. Family owned, family run, family created. I think we learned again in the episode that for Sebastian Aho, it's all starts and ends and everything in between with family. So newcountry.com, our unconditionally, from the get-go, loyal presenting sponsor. Until the next time, please check out digintrip.com for our, I think, pretty darn cool merchandise line. We're going to shortly add a hoodie in honor of Sebastian Aho and his hometown, and Carpet, the fine team that his father Hari manages in the Finnish Elite League. So look for that. Please rate and review the show, all audio platforms as well as YouTube. And make sure when you're looking in the mirror, as we always conclude, be honest with yourself. You don't have to have a good memory when you tell the truth. And the words of the great Mark Twain. I never spent any time, obviously, with Mark, but I can imagine he dug in. And if you're not digging in when you look in the mirror, never too late to start. Until the next time, thank you so much, Sebastian Aho. This was a treat. Stay safe. Continue enjoying the second half of this regular hockey season, and we will talk to you very soon.
We're digging in with Tripp today, yeah. Today, yeah. Today, yeah. Today.